Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability details of this watch. And now, let's fire it up. Today we are discussing a 2010 model year limited edition of 7 pieces in white gold. From Jaeger-LeCoultre, this is the Master Grande Tradition, Grande Complication. A watch that is an annual calendar, zodiac, sky chart, flying tourbillon, trebuchet hammer, minute repeater. It's stacked. And I want to shout out my friends on the internet for helping me to identify the mystery language on the dial. The standard version of this watch was a 75-piece run the same year. This is a 7-piece edition with a Russian language calendar, including the sky chart and constellations, the months, and the zodiac. So thank you everyone for helping me to ID this language. This is not the 75-piece edition, so just keep that in mind. This is a micro edition. It is a large watch at white gold, 44 millimeters in diameter, 15.8 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip, 52.8 millimeters. It's got a broad 23 millimeter spacing between the lugs, and it is a large watch. Thrown it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference. I'll let you guys decide whether this fits. It's definitely big, and big is the look. Then again, it is a vitrine for the entire sky. So it's a very big watch, but a very small cosmos, if you want to put it that way. That said, it is thick, it won't clear a cuff, and it is broad. As you can see, the lugs are right out to the edge of my wrist. I'd actually recommend your wrist be about 17 centimeters circumference or larger to wear this well. The strap's high grade. Jaeger-LeCoultre straps can be hit and miss. This is a beautiful one with large, symmetrical, rectangular scale alligator leather. Very expensive cut of the beast. And you can see it's a sort of matte finish. There's a monotone stitch, a folded edge, calfskin on the bottom. It's a brand new JLC factory strap, which means it has the pull tab spring bars, so you can quickly dismount the strap from the case. The lugs are actually drilled fairly close to the case, and so a curved spring bar is used to prevent any kind of impediment to the motion of the strap. You can pull it straight down out of the lugs. We've got a white gold double deployant clasp here, though the clasp itself is a little bit more recent than the watch. It must have been added as an upgrade at some point. It has the push release that allows you to remove the buckle from the strap, just as you can remove the strap from the watch without a tool. So this is a fully tool-free strap swapping experience, and you can see this is actually Jaeger-LeCoultre's latest folding clasp. Now, taking a look at the case, it's very simple and strong. This look was used on almost everything from dress watches to sports watches during the 2000s and early 2010s. We have lugs that are fairly narrow when viewed end-on, but very sheer in profile. They're blended into the case band. You can see there's a sort of soft bevel that expands as the lugs move toward their pointed tip. We have a crown, which is uniquely sort of a media blast. Everything else is in polish. A very shallow domed bezel. And then we have this handsome, almost Art Deco step to the repeater slide, so you can pull it more easily. Now on the dial, you can see we have the welded sapphire gong that connects the chiming gongs of the reverse of the case to the sapphire. So though this is a massive white gold watch, it has the same singing ring and sustain and volume as though the case were steel or titanium, which are optimized for repeating watches. The watch features, we'll talk about the movement first and then jump to the dial, because there's a lot to say about the movement. So this is a movement that is absolutely enormous. It's caliber 945 manual wind, 48 hours of power reserve, 4 hertz beat rate, and as you can see, it is beautifully decorated and made of German silver, which is a little bit like a longa. So you can see all these elements that are sort of champagne-toned or gold-toned. It's a nickel-copper zinc alloy, where Jaeger-LeCoultre is in the Vallée de Joux. This is known as Maillot, but it's the same material as German silver, nickel, copper, and zinc. We do have an enormous number of parts in here, 527 pieces all told, And then we've got trebuchet hammers, and this is a system that was originally created for Jaeger-LeCoultre's Ibris Mécanique Grande Sonnerie, and it is a system that increases the chiming power, or at least the striking power, by 80% over a standard striker. So this is very, very important, and it's important because it makes this rather large heavy metal repeater an even better chimer. So what happens is halfway through its travel, part of the hammer is brought to an abrupt halt, and sort of like the two-stage deployment of a trebuchet catapult, that second kick is a harder, more violent one against the striker. It is a flying tourbillon. As you can see on the dial side, the tourbillon has no upper bridge, so this is a flying tourbillon that's also an orbital tourbillon. It makes one orbit of the dial per sidereal day, which is 23 hours, 56 minutes, and about 4 seconds. And so the sky chart, which is represented by what you see inside this metallized oval, the sky chart shows you what is overhead at any given time. And remember, the sky is always up there. Even if you can't see the stars during the day, this will tell you what is overhead. So the hands make one rotation every 12 hours. That's a conventional clock time indicator. We have a little sun that's driven by a ring gear that sits under this extended bezel. That little sun makes a circuit every 24 hours or one solar day, whereas a sidereal day is the passage of a star across a meridian of longitude 2 times. That's what a sidereal day is. So you here have the difference between mean solar time and true sidereal time. At center, we have what looks like it might be a sun. That's actually Polaris, the North Star, which sits right on the Earth's axis of rotation. As a result, when you do a time lapse of the sky spinning at night, the stars appear to spin around Polaris, which, because it's on the Earth's axis, seems like a fixed point to us from ground level. Now, you can see there is a sky chart here. So in addition to all of the stars and the constellations, we have a little bit more going on, as we have months and zodiac signs. Now, this is driven by an annual calendar mechanism that hides underneath the dial, so it needs to be corrected only once a year annually. And then we also have hands that are Dauphine style and half frosted, so they're easier to see against the dial base. And you can see how they are higher contrast. If you look at the dial, you can see that it features a gradient lacquer as you move outward. So it's got sort of a fumé smoked fade. It gets from light to very dark as you move outward, and it's more purple than blue, to be perfectly honest. There's also a lovely guilloche pattern etched onto it. And here we can see north, south, east, and west in yet another foreign language on this dial. The flying tourbillon is a fascinating piece. As you can see, it's free sprung for durability and precise adjustment. Poising screws on the balance are used for the timing. And then it has the overcoil to allow it to keep consistent time in any physical orientation with respect to gravity. So it is a tourbillon that serves a chronometric purpose, not just an artistic one. The watch also includes something extraordinarily rare for a Jaeger-LeCoultre watch, which is a full silicon escapement. That actually improves the efficiency by 15%, extending power reserve, reducing maintenance requirements, and also improving the chronometric precision of the watch altogether. You can see that there is a 24-hour scale on the inner bezel against which to read that sun, which is tracking for a conventional mean solar day. And the watch, in theory, is 50 meters water resistant, which is extraordinary since most minute repeaters are dust and moisture resistant only. They can't withstand any kind of exposure to moisture. So the fact that this is 50 meters is deeply impressive. Turning it all back to the reverse, what you can see here is that we have a conventional centrifugal governor. It's a 50 joule movement. It is a very large movement designed to fill the entirety of the case back, and it is an excellent timekeeper. As you can see, there's a little note on the reverse of the watch that this has gone through the Master 1000 hours control, which is a test of water resistance, power reserve, chronometric precision, overall durability, and it lasts for over 41 days. Remember, COSC is a 5-position bare movement test for about 2 weeks. This is 41 days, 6 positions as a fully assembled watch, and it's, again, 6 positions. There's no position in which inaccuracy can be hidden. This watch offers a lot, And the Master Grande Tradition watches, before they leave Jaeger-LeCoultre, were all tested to run no worse than +4 -1 second per day. So the Master 1000 hours control is not the same for every watch. There are different tolerances, with the reversos and the micro movements generally having much leaner or looser timing tolerances. This is the maximum tolerance, the most exacting that they apply to their watches. The finish is beautiful. As you can see, there is a sunray motif or Côte de Soleil across the bridges. The beveling is to a high grade and mirrored. You can see we have both polished and blue-fired screws. Everything that's sort of a silver tone is steel, which includes satination, mirror finishing, as you can see on the gongs themselves, and then beveling on the edge, as you can see on the strikers. It is as good as it gets in the world of Swiss watchmaking. We're going to do another strike because I feel like you guys deserve it. So we're going to take this past 12 o'clock and past 3/4 after 12. Okay, let's fire it up, see what we got here. Boom, just like that. If you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing details. Oh, one more quickie, because I know someone's going to wonder. I want to be clear that there is an intermediate position for the crown that allows you to set the sky chart and the tourbillon independently. Somewhere, sometime, someone's going to want to know that, so that's how that works.